I want to welcome you here to this program. We're going to start off now with a word of prayer, and we're going to call on Sister Carey to come. Yes, come right to the front for me, please, Miss Carey. Make her feel special as she comes to open us up this evening with a word of prayer.
Let us bow. Father God, we thank you for your presence here tonight. Lord, we honor you for the opportunity for the young, God, to be able to come and express themselves in speech. Father God, we honor you for Mr. Spence Finlayson, God, a man that has taken the initiative, taken the time out of his schedule to impact, God, to leave an impression, God, to work with and instill in this generation things that will work together for their good. Father God, we thank you now for this competition as it is about to get on its way. We thank you for our honorable judges that are here, God. We thank you for each and every student that is about to take part. God, give them great utterance of speech. Guide their mind, God. Instill in them, God, everything that they learned up to this point. And may, God, they excel even now and forevermore. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. What a praying woman. Thank you. Well, I want to welcome you here to this graduation and speech competition. And I want to thank, as we open this program, the Bahamas Gaming Operators Association for generously sponsoring these great students to attend this program. Yes, thank you. Special shout out to Mr. Gershon Major, the CEO, who could not be with us tonight due to a conflicting schedule. We're grateful to them. It was a great 6 weeks, or 7 weeks we went, and we had a wonderful time. The students came every evening. Sometimes I would come and meet them on the steps just waiting to go. And that was good to see. They were thoroughly excited. And this is the very first one. And we're going to do another one coming up soon over another period of time. But we have some great students here, and it was a pleasure working with them over the period in terms of public speaking. I have some special guests here tonight who are judges, the honorable judges. My good friend, Ms. Antoinette Lockmore from Island Luck, Operations Manager. She formerly was at the Atlantis Casino. And next, I call him my big brother, but I got two big brothers here tonight. Kingsley Monroe, top accountant. He's here with us tonight. Kingsley was on my radio program for about 5 years, and anytime I get to host a radio show, he is one that I call on, along with my other big brother who is here tonight, who I've been able to call on a lot sometimes. He's such a great speaker, and he counts prepared. Mr. Leon Williams, former CEO of BTC. Now, what we're going to do tonight, since the students are speaking, and it's a speech competition plus the graduation, I'm going to call on Mr. Williams just to say a few words to open us up, and then we will go right into the program. Give him some love as he makes his face. Leon Williams.
I love the fact that introductions are not done. Tell me, the students are from?
Oh, sir, yes.
Which schools are the students from? I recognize QC.
QC is here in the house tonight.
Okay.
R.M. Bailey, St. Anne's Blue Waves, Anatole Rogers,
The
great Stevie Bethel, St. John's College, a great Anglican school. Doris Johnson, my neighbor right next door.
I just start my presentations, no matter where I go, where I speak. It depends upon the forum, but I usually start my introduction, and that is why I usually don't like people to introduce me. If anyone should ever write my life story, line number 1, sentence number 1, paragraph number 1, page number 1 should read, chapter number 1. He was uncommonly blessed by God and highly favored. Because only God could take a little boy out of 8 Mile Road, Grand Bahama, bring him to Nassau, make him CEO of BTC, cause him to get fired, and bring him back as CEO. Only God could take a little boy out of Seagrave, Grand Bahama, make him chairman of the Caribbean Association of National Telecommunications Organizations. And when he became chairman the first time, there were only 70 telephone companies as members. And within 2 years, he raised a membership from 17 members to 133 members in 33 countries on 4 continents. Only God. We are living in the 4th industrial generation. No one can be a leader. No one can be a CEO. No one could be a coach without the ability to be able to communicate and speak well. You've got to be able to motivate your staff. You've got to be able to inspire your staff. And you have to be aspirational. And so it's important. I am so happy to see that you are starting at this level. And make sure that whatever you learn in school today prepares you that you could use it later on. If someone asks me to speak on music, no problem. I'm going to start my introduction. If music be the fruit of love, give me excess of it, that suffocating the appetite may sicken and so die. And I'll tell you that is from Macbeth, Shakespeare. Someone asked me to speak on mercy. Mercy, it droppeth from the heavens to the earth beneath. Someone asked me to speak on technology, and the list goes on. The list goes on. I was speaking the other day. My boss, when I was the CEO of BTC, invited me to speak. And it was an uncomfortable situation. 250 plus people in the audience. And out of those 250 plus people, there were only 15 people of my pigmentation. And he just jumped on me and asked me to say something. And I started off. Every morning in the jungles of Africa, when the sun rises, the lion says to his family, I have got to outrun the fastest gazelle, or you will starve to death. And every morning in the jungles of Africa, when the sun rises, the gazelle says, I've got to outrun the fastest lion, or I'll be his lunch, or his supper, or his dinner. When the sun rises in the jungles of Africa, it makes no difference whether you run, you walk, or you fly. It is how fast. In the jungles of Africa, it is all about speed. But there's a misnomer, because the lion does not live in the jungle. We call him the king of the jungle. The lion lives on the Serengeti. But we call him the king of the jungle. And so as you approach the stand, I spoke on most of Dr. Miles Monroe's leadership conferences, and I traveled with him a little. He would always, up until the time for him to speak, be making corrections on his laptop. And so as the chairman of Canto, in Canto, 4 board meetings a year, I had to travel around the Caribbean and sit and speak from the same lectern as prime ministers in the Caribbean. Well, as ministers of ICT, I didn't use any notes. And my presentation, PowerPoint presentation, if I was using one, 10 minutes before I had to speak, I would give it to the audiovisual if I was using a PowerPoint presentation. But for most of the times, I've written so many speeches from so many different people that I don't write speeches for myself. But in my mind, I prepare. So I'm sitting in the audience, I'm sitting in the back row of the audience, waiting for my time to go up, and I'm just going over and over the speech. Because my speech will be tailored really to, depending upon who speaks before me, and then depending upon the reaction of the audience. I'm always feeling the audience and looking into the audience to see how they react. And so I'm changing my speech all along. I was doing a speech at the Atlantis, Paradise Island, did a PowerPoint presentation. It was the CEO network, Debbie Bartley, had all these black CEOs from the corporations, like the CEO of Coca-Cola. Got up there to do a 45-minute presentation. On slide number 2, the computer froze. And I kept going and saying, if the computer was working, slide number 4 would have shown this, and I spoke to it. If the computer was working, slide number 5, and I did that for 45 minutes. I got a standing ovation. Because simply, all my PowerPoint presentations, I do myself. So whether the computer works or the computer don't work, I can still continue to do the speech. You've got a golden opportunity, and Mr. Finlayson, I would really like to say congratulations on taking this down to the next level.
Thank you, sir.
And to, I think, Mr. Major Goshen Major.
Yes.
Goshen Major used to work for me one time as the vice president of B2B at BTC. Please commend him for being able to sponsor, because this is the youth, this is the next generation. 30 years is the age, the median age for 50% of the population, 7 billion people. In the Bahamas, the median age is 29.9 for men, 28.9 for women. Women make up the majority of the population of the Bahamas. So by 2022, Brother Finlayson, when the elections come around, 50% of the people that will vote in the next election wouldn't know anything about Burma oil. They wouldn't know anything about the general strike. They wouldn't know anything about independence. They wouldn't know anything about the majority rule. And frankly, they don't care. 50% of the population in Grand Bahama that will vote in 2022 has never seen the bazaar open, know nothing about the magic city of Freeport. All they have seen is misery. And so when you talk to them, and you try to communicate to them, and you try to be aspirational to them, they don't have the fuzziest idea what you're talking about. And for you, the IDB says that 60% of the jobs that will be around in the year 2030 has not yet been created. There will be no bank tellers. There will be few banks. Everything will be push and play. I don't even know what the jobs are, because as the IDB says, they have not yet been created. So you're preparing yourself for a future that is very uncertain. Learn all you can. And most of all, enjoy this opportunity that Mr. Finlayson has given to you, and learn how to communicate, learn how to speak, learn how to speak. The definition of illiteracy in the fourth industrial revolution is not whether you could read or write, but it is whether you could learn, unlearn, and relearn. 80% of what you learn in school, by the time you get on the job, will be obsolete. The books that you learn in science will be door stoppers. In my school, when I went to do O-levels, A-level, they told me the conservation of matter and energy could not be created or destroyed. They didn't know anything about nuclear fusion. If you go into a doctor who has not been back to school in the last 4 or 5 years, you need to find another doctor. Things has changed that much. Learning is a process. It is a journey. It is not a destination. So graduation is not the end. It's the beginning. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm excited about this. And this is amazing because for me, I was painfully shy in high school, and school throughout, as a matter of fact.
I'm so shy.
Yeah, I was very shy. I was so shy that I would know the answers, but I'd be afraid to put my hand up. You know, you put it up halfway, you want them seen, you don't want them to see it. And years later, the Dean of Men at St. Augustine's, the Big Red Machine, Mr. Vincent Ferguson, saw me, and he said, God is amazing. He said, look at Spence Finlayson. He always called my name right, Finlayson. He says, this man never said anything at school. He was a great athlete, but he never said anything at school. And here he is speaking all over the world and teaching people how to speak. But it's God, hey? Give yourselves a round for me, please. It's God. It was a real joy to work with these eager students. It's nothing like when people are eager, Kingsley Monroe. When they're excited to get here. Like I said, I'd come and I'd meet 3 or 4 on the steps, and I come early. You know, we started at 4, and I'd be here like right after 3. And we go on until 5:30, and then we had a nice little pizza eat out as we go, and so forth. So tonight, each of these wonderful people have a different topic, eh? 2 may have the same. But we're going to go now, and then you can announce your topic when we come up. The judges are ready for you, and we're glad that your family members are here. Give them some love for making it out tonight. As I mentioned, I'm not going in any particular order. Mr. Williams, I'm going as the Spirit leads. The Spirit, yeah, that's how I'm going. The Spirit is going to lead me somewhere tonight. And that's right, Sister Carrie? Amen. I am going as the Spirit leads. Yes, so the Spirit is leading me now to, wait a second, yeah, okay. The Spirit is leading me now. I call her Sister Bain, Natalia Bain. Come on down, the price is right. Give us some love. R.N. Bailey.
Good evening. I get through this. My topic is technology is making humanity less intelligent. Christian Lauslein said it best when he stated that technology is a useful servant but a dangerous master. The advancement of technology has become very crucial to the world today. However, has it become too advanced for us? Technology has made us able to do more while understanding less about what we're actually doing and increase our dependence on others. The use of technology is seemingly making humanity less intelligent, not in the sense of lacking smarts, but in the sense of lacking judgment. With that being said, because of technology, wanting to have good communication skills has become overrated. You do not find much persons, especially young people, who would prefer to sit down and have a decent conversation with their parents instead of communicating willingly through text messages. While it is true that technology is great for communication when it involves connecting with family and friends who live far away, the overuse of it lessens social interaction and face-to-face communication. Since we have the ability to converse without having the need to see the person face-to-face, we tend to neglect the need to physically interact with others. It's frightening to know that the communication skills are declining in this upcoming generation. When you become less sociable, you become less available to everyone. When you become less available to everyone, the networking and the economy weakens. Then imagine what happens next. The issue of lacking communication skills now leads to another issue, not caring about our mental health. We sometimes allow technology to destroy our state of mind. We sometimes tend to isolate ourselves from the world. It's not so common among the older generation though, because they are once without technology. Therefore, they show appreciation for it without forgetting where they once were. On the other hand, we have this young generation that believes keeping up with technology is imperative. Since they find it mandatory, they become addicted to the usage of advanced technology. Some persons may say that technology actually helps strengthen one's mindset, but how many of us actually use it to our advantage? Not many. If we start using technology the right way, then maybe it won't seem so dangerous. In addition to technology affecting our communication skills and mental health, it's also affecting our productivity. With all the advancements in technology, we no longer find the need to do things manually. Today, there are vacuum cleaners that only require a push of a button to clean the floors, and some devices you can give commands to turn the lights off and on. Truly, technology has made us lackadaisical or lazy, but it makes doing tasks much easier and quicker. I'm positive that no one, and I repeat, no one, will prefer to take the time to read a map to locate their destination when they just use Google Maps. Nevertheless, my point still stands because we should not train our minds to rely on technology for hammer or nail over the internet. To sum everything together, technology is a blessing to many, but only to those who know how to use it correctly. If we do not need to see the need for communication skills, for being mentally healthy, or the need to be productive, then we become blinded to the negative aspects of technology. I'm not saying that technology isn't great. What I'm saying is we need to learn to use it the right way. Thank you.
That could be better than that. Give us some more love. What you say? Give us some more love. Yes, as I mentioned to you, it was a joy to have them here every Tuesday afternoon in this program. Now, moving right along, I know our judges are ready. Give the judges a moment because this is a big night tonight. And we have a prize for the parents too. We're giving you a round trip ticket to Dubai.
Are you serious?
Yes. Yeah, on Eastern Airlines.
I thought it was Sky.
No, Eastern Airlines. Eastern is trying to make a comeback, though, I understand, but they've made numerous attempts to come back. All right, so moving right along in this program, we're going to go now to this lovely young lady, all the way, Quintesha Taylor. Give us some love as she comes.
Quintesha Taylor. My topic is technology is making humanity less intelligent. Good evening, all. iPhones, Fire Sticks, laptops, gaming devices, all of these have brought us pleasure, provided many advantages, and has added a sense of comfort to our lives. But the matter at hand is that the dependence on technology is making humanity less intelligent. It inhibits creativity, hinders the ability to retain information in the brain, and counteracts productivity due to its addictive nature. The availability of technology in modern society is having negative effects on creativity, which is necessary for people to explore and express themselves. Even with all the data available and content already out there, we still need innovation and creativity to know what to do with it. Without self-expression, there would be no inspiration or motivation to investigate new ideas, which in turn diminishes human intelligence. Secondly, human dependence on technology has affected our ability to mentally retain information. People tend to depend on their electronics to mentally retain information. People tend to depend on their electronics for things that can be so simple. For example, would be everyday tasks. Today, we can take a picture of notes instead of physically writing it. Google search the answers to math questions on our homework, or ask Siri to remind us to take out the trash when we should be able to do so on our own. We have become so engulfed in our electronics that we do not want to remember things or how to do them on our own. Human dependence on technology has also made us less productive. The use of tech devices is quite addictive, and it's becoming more and more difficult to disengage. Technology creates the expectation that everything should move more quickly, as if this will somehow make humans more productive. Suffice it to say that despite all of wonderful advantages the technology has offered humanity, it hinders the opportunity to retain information in the brain and counteract productivity. It is evident that the dependence on technology is a contributing factor to the depletion of humanity's intelligence. Thank you.
Your mom is here tonight. Give her a special hello. I knew your mom. I know her. All right, we're moving right along. Great job. Great job. Great job. Look at somebody on your right and left and shake down and say, you got what it takes to make it happen. Okay, we're moving right along. What we're going to do now, and our judges are getting it together because there's, like I said, some prizes here tonight. There's a cruise also we're offering for the parents. Yeah. Yeah. A Mediterranean cruise on the Sunwood. Yeah, I was thinking of that one, but I said they may not know that one either, right? I remember when the Yama Castle burned down. You're giving me some age here now, but I remember that. And that was the day when that burned down. Yeah, the whole town was sick on that. Tommy, you wouldn't know anything about that. Yeah, the Yama Castle. But I knew because I grew up on the straw market. So I spent plenty of days out by the ships watching. And interestingly enough, the men used to dive off the ships for quarter. You imagine that? For the tourists. The tourists would throw the quarter in the water, and they would dive down and bring the coin up in their mouth and take it out and show it that they got the coin. All right, moving right along, we are going to go to the Green Giants, St. John's. Philena Styles. Come on down, Sister Styles. The Green Giants.
The topic I was given was, should marijuana be legalized in the Bahamas? I disagree with this topic because marijuana is one of the most commonly abused drugs all around the world. Those who support its legalization fail to understand that the greatest cost of marijuana is not related to its prohibition. They are the costs resulting from marijuana use itself. The cost of legalizing marijuana would not only be financial. New marijuana users would not be limited to adults if marijuana were legalized, just as regulations on alcohol and tobacco do not prevent use by youth. Marijuana use is associated with increasing in range of serious mental and physical problems. Lack of public understanding on this relationship is undermining prevention efforts and adversely affecting the nation's youth and their families. Reducing marijuana use is essential to improving the nation's productivity, health, and education. It interferes with the judgment that concentration, reaction time, and coordination in ways that make youth more likely to get in a car accident or help them not to realize what they are doing. The way that it interferes with the brain, such as memory, attention, problem solving, can make it much harder to youth to learn and succeed in school. Did you know that when you are vaping marijuana, you put almost 100% tetrahydrocannabinol in your body, which is also known as THC? But marijuana can complicate anxiety problems. Children with anxiety disorders may experience panic attacks when they smoke the drug or the marijuana leaves their system. Let me break it down for you. THC moves from your lungs into your bloodstream and throughout your body. Within minutes, your heart rate may increase by 20 to 50 beats per minute. That rapid heartbeat can continue for up to 3 hours. If you have a heart disease, this could risk you of a heart attack. One of the telltale signs of recent marijuana use is bloodshot eyes. The eyes look red because marijuana causes blood vessels in the eye to expand. THC triggers your brain to release large amounts of dopamine, a naturally occurring feel-good chemical. It's what gives you a high pleasure. It may heighten your sensory of perception or your perception of time.
THC changes the way you process information, so your judgment may be impaired. The hippocampus is responsible for memory, so it may be difficult for you to learn. Chances are that in the cerebellum, brain areas that control in movement and balance. When you come down from your high, you may feel tired or depressed. In some people, addiction is considered rare, but is real, and I repeat, is real. Symptoms of withdrawal may include irritability and loss of appetite. Smoking marijuana can cause stinging and burning in your mouth or throat while inhaling. Marijuana can cause digestive issues when taken orally. For example, oral THC can cause nausea and vomiting because of the way it is produced in the liver. It may also damage your liver. Now, with all of these facts and all of this information, do you think that marijuana would help our teens? Do you think that it would help our economy? In conclusion, I truly believe that marijuana should not be legalized, that it will cause more downfall in our country. Thank you. Before I leave, I would like to give handouts so you can seriously know how it affects your body. Oh, handouts.
Yes. And now we're going to go down to that school out south. And this young man was at the press conference. And he was one of the first people to be here every day when I came. I'd meet him on the steps. Kevon Neely. Come on down, young fellow. Give him some love as he comes.
Malala Yousafzai once said, and I quote, "One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world." End quote. Chairperson, honorable judges, my fellow contestants, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a pleasant good evening. Amen. Today, my topic is, should teachers' pay be based on performance? Do you feel as if a teacher should be paid based on performance? Well, I have to disagree with that statement. Teachers' pay should not be based on performance. Before establishing my key points, let me reinforce the meaning of who a teacher is. According to Google, a teacher is a person who helps students to acquire knowledge, competence, or virtue. Firstly, some teachers receive lower level streams. As a result of that, you cannot pay teachers by their performance. Why? You might have an effective teacher, but the teacher can only move at a pace suitable for the class to ensure that the children can enhance their learning abilities. For example, if every student was at a 0% F at the beginning of the school year, that teacher would have at least bring them up to a 50% average. That is a tremendous improvement. A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill an enormous love for learning. But it's a gradual process. That's an exceptional change for teaching someone with slow learning capabilities. So how can you pay a teacher based on performance? It wouldn't be giving the teacher a fair chance to produce an excellent number of results. And many teachers have lower level classes for several years. Secondly, parental support and their desire for the child to achieve. Parents play a key role. If parents would discipline their children, the teacher would have more time to teach. If parents can give more support and give the students the attention they need, the teachers in society can have a more productive class. Child Trend states that 33% more parents provide parental support for their child. Due to the lack of parental support, it's taking away the teacher's time of teaching. Teachers have to teach students right from wrong and lead them in the right pathway to succeed in. Parents, you can do so much more. The Ministry of Education handbook states that the teachers are only to teach the curriculum and to prepare students for their national examinations, not to teach them life goals and morals. Also, speaking about parents, it can relate to the environment the child is brought up in. This is what causes students to disrespect teachers because of the examples you set as parents. After conducting several interviews with adults, they all spoke about how the generation of today is so entirely different from theirs. Lastly, the students' interest and desire to achieve. If we as students do not apply the work, we cannot be successful. Success doesn't come overnight. We have to persevere and have determination. The teacher can teach to the best of their ability, but at the end of the day, if we don't study to retain the years of information we learn and acquire, we are wasting our teachers' time. Without teachers, there are no doctors, no lawyers, and no policemen. I aspire to one day be a pediatric oncologist. Even our Prime Minister, the Honorable Hubert Minnis, is an obstetrician. We must thank our teachers for Alfred Gray, a known lawyer in society. So, why should their pay be based on performance? They did their part, so it's imperative to do ours. We cannot take life for granted. We must reach for the stars in order to succeed. This is what you should be yearning for. Honor roll certificates, BJCs, BGCSEs, and scholarships. I have a mother that pushes me to do my absolute best and teaches me to execute my full potential with the time God gave me. In closing, I extend a special thank you to my audience for your listening ear. So, after the 3 strong points that have been discussed, do you feel as if a teacher should be paid based on their performance? Once again, Chairperson.
Yes. Brother Neely, C.B. Bethel, come on, some love. Give him some love. C.B. Bethel. Yes, Brother Neely, as I said, he was always the first person to arrive when I came here. He's eager to learn. He asked a lot of questions. Even up to this evening, he was asking me a few questions. But that's how concerned and committed he is to what he's doing. Unfortunately, his mother couldn't be here tonight with us. But I know she's here in spirit, eh? She's his big supporter. Yes, thank you. Okay. Now we're going to go to Ashanti Carroll. Come on down, the price is right. R.M. Bailey. Ashanti Carroll, R.M. Bailey.
Good evening. The topic that was given to me was television, movies, and video games contribute to juvenile crime rates. According to American Academy of Pediatrics, it is stated that children and adolescents spend more time with media than they do in any other activity except for sleeping, an average of 7 hours a day. The vast majority of young people have access to a bedroom television, the computer, the internet, a video game console, and a cell phone. Television, movies, and video games can all be encompassed to one term: media. Media has been around for quite some time, and it has been known to be quite useful with getting information across the world. However, like anything else, it has its downsides. UN.org states that some 200,000 homicides that occur worldwide, which is 43% of the population, are done by young people ranging from ages 10 to 29. Although it does not directly say that media is the reason for this violence, this should be one of the main reasons why the percentage is so high. These various kinds of media can influence youth, affect their empathy, and can cause many health effects. Batman, Super Wonder, Wonder Woman. These are all characters we wanted to be like and would always look forward to dressing up for Halloween as young children. So I asked this question. If, as young children, we are influenced by these characters, what stops us from being influenced by other people as teenagers and young adults? Nowadays, children are not being raised by their parents, but instead are often given some form of electronic device which opens doors to so many damage. Sometimes they become so addicted that they lack social skills, have no friends, and most importantly, they tend to start showing aggressive behavior. It is natural for young people to learn through watching. Therefore, if they see others turning to violence on the screen in order to solve a situation that they are involved in, they automatically think that it is right to solve their problems like that in reality. They become so accustomed to this lifestyle and eventually begin to show this behavior towards others. That was a case with a young man named Michael Carneal. He was arrested through many violent video games he played. This can be the reason for so many bullying that goes on in our schools today as well. They often see the popularity ones get through bullying others in a television show that they become so eager to do this behavior that they start to do it in real life. All these problems start from one mistake: allowing children to gain access to the media world without proper attention. To continue, when children are exposed to violence in the media, it tends to numb their soul, according to aacap.org. For instance, when we see an animal that is run over by a vehicle, the typical young person would often look away due to the pain it brings down, even though it's not their own. However, one who is influenced by the violence they see in media would admire the devastating death of this animal. Likewise, when a person dies, they have no sympathy towards the death of that person because they have been exposed to so many death scenes that they are not shocked when it occurs in real life. They become less sensitive to the pain of others and may come up as uncaring or unsympathetic. Due to them spending hours in front of media and becoming so used to people dying through violent acts, it does not bother them one bit, and they see it as a normal thing to do. Finally, violence through media may have many health effects on a young person, including depression, mood disorders, and psychological distress. If one sees a show where they see a person taking their own life because of problems they are having in their lives, for example, 13 Reasons Why, they may think that it is okay to do it, and when they are going through a dark time in their life, the first thing they may think of is taking their own life. Additionally, when they see others who practice drug use in the media, they will begin to think that it is normal and it will make them look good for others. And they begin using drugs, which may lead to mental disorders, and they eventually begin to become violent towards others. As stated previously, when influenced by media, these children start to distance themselves from others and they find themselves having little to no friends. Therefore, when someone tries to become friendly with them, they may just happen to lash out at this person because they are not used to socializing with others. In conclusion, it can be seen that the media does in fact contribute to the juvenile crime rates. Parents can prevent this from happening to their children by keeping a constant eye on what their children are watching, ensuring that parental guidance is turned on for every app on the device, and limiting the amount of hours that is spent in front of a screen. They should also try as much as possible to spend more physical time with their children and try to understand them as people. With teamwork and dedication, we can change the youth and encourage less media time as it was in our parents' and grandparents' time. Maybe then it will better our nation and we can become more productive citizens of the world. Thank you.
Thank you. We're moving along very well, in this program tonight. Yeah, we're moving fast. We're moving very fast. So what we're going to do now is, coming up next. Why did you say that? Why did you say that? Coming up next is the man from the Blue Waves, Silence. Jaden Ferguson, Also a gentleman's club member. Give him some love as he makes his way. Ferguson in the house.
See, a little tall, you see, so.
You're a little tall.
Before I start my speech, I'd just like to take a photo, everyone. Hold on. Hey, y'all say something. Hold up. Alright. The reason why I did that is because every moment we spend with our loved ones, we should cherish it, because we don't know when's our time to go. And I got that quote from Michael Jordan when he spoke at Kobe Bryant's funeral, and it really spoke to me. And today we live in a world where it's full of chaos, hardships, and struggles. Alcohol and tobacco are already legalized, and to make matters worse, our leaders are trying to make marijuana legalized. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jaden Ferguson. I attend the Great St. Anne's School, School of Champions, one of my Blue Waves. I'll be talking briefly about should marijuana be legalized, and I just like to say I disagree. Is there anyone here who agrees that marijuana should be legalized? You agree? Anyone? Oh, okay, that's interesting.
I believe it should be decriminalized.
Should be?
Yeah, see how pros and cons of it.
That's what I'm indeed. So I believe that marijuana. Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong. I believe that marijuana shouldn't be legalized because, firstly, marijuana has 3 uses. There's medicinal, there's recreational, and there's spiritual uses. Medicinal is used to cope with any physical or mental pain that a person is experiencing. Recreational deals with basically their pastime, pleasure, and spiritual, for example, would be the Rastafarian movement. They use it for their religion. They say that the marijuana helps them to cope with stress, and it eases their the pain and makes them calm and can help them meditate. But firstly, I believe that marijuana shouldn't be localized because of its physical and mental effects. Anyone aware of dopamine? Does anyone know what dopamine is? Ms. Styles spoke briefly about it, but I can further elaborate on it. Dopamine is a neurochemical in the body that is responsible for pleasure, basically. It shows us our motives, and because of this, it is very important. Now, marijuana, what it does, since it's depressant, it decreases dopamine in the body, which means that it lowers our motivation, which is why you see people not wanting to work, which is why they're very tired, very fatigued. And it could cause job loss, family problems, and many other severe problems. Also, marijuana is, I had the privilege to go to a Bahamian rehabilitation center, and I spoke with some people who undergo physical trauma after an addiction. And when I was listening to them, I looked inside their eyes and I could see the pain in them because they realized that they made a mistake. They basically killed themselves before they even had a chance to live because they ruined their life in one moment. That's all it takes for them. So marijuana caused that as well. My mom had a friend once. He was the head boy, just like me. But he went to a party, and someone, some demon, put marijuana in his drink. And because of that, he became mentally insane, and he was never the same again. So I just wanted to give y'all a picture of what marijuana can do. Secondly, marijuana, the legalization of marijuana encourages teenage use. Everyone sitting there, all your children, grade 10 to 12, this is the stage in their lives where they are most likely to turn to drugs because it's a stressful time for students during these years. And not many people can be as strong-minded and as mentally, have the mental fortitude to do something without their drugs. But if they turn to marijuana, the brain is not fully developed. The brain is not developed until the age of 23. So if they going to marijuana at an early stage, it stunts the brain growth. And it can cause low IQ, mental problems, anxiety, and physical pain. I spoke with, like I said earlier, I spoke with someone at Silence Rehabilitation Center, and he said he drank alcohol at the early age of 12. And he drank so much that when he drank so much, his belly was filled with it. And he threw about 2 buckets of alcohol that was in his system. And he threw up so much that he started to bleed. He vomited blood, basically. And I just want to give y'all a picture once again, because this could happen to y'all children as well. People right now, it could happen to anyone. It doesn't matter how rich you are. If you have a good family, it could happen to anyone. Thirdly, my last point is it gives a label to people. Can I volunteer, please? Someone stand up. Give a round of applause, please. State your name and your occupation, please.
Patrice Carey, Mistress Patrice Carey, preacher.
Alright, let's give a round of applause. Thank you.
Living the Cruz.
No. Oh, okay. The reason why I wanted to stand up, and I'm really glad she stood up, because she's a black person, and labels are placed on black people all the time. And if they legalize marijuana, it's gonna make things worse for us. It's gonna make it harder to get jobs. It's gonna make it harder to get better pay and better wages. And we see these labels all the time. When we go throughout the streets, we look at the people on the street corners, the homeless, the sick, the injured. We look at them and say, wow, they could work, what they doing? They're just lazy. But society should be more mature. You understand what they've been through. People don't have that mental fortitude inside them, so they turn to drugs. That is what's really, really the danger. Drugs, marijuana, alcohol, tobacco. If all of them are legalized, then our world will turn to chaos. To conclude my speech, I just like to thank Mr. Finlayson, thank the judges, and thank you guys for being an active audience. Thank you, God bless.
Yes, Jaden Ferguson, head boy, Sanans Blue Waves. Sanans is really moved up, AJ.
Yes, sir.
Jaden, I will leave that off for now, Jaden, though. No, you know, we had a running joke that I shared with you, right? Sanans has certainly elevated themselves. I just shared this yesterday, well, what today is? Yesterday at a memorial service at the Immigration Department with Bishop Arnold Josie, who is a SAC fellow like myself. And the gentleman sitting in the front row says, he's a blue wave. So there's still that running commentary between SAC and Sanans. But when we were in SAC, we would call Sanans the other school in Fox Hill. Like the Clippers was the other team in LA, and the Lakers was there. Now the Clippers are right up. And that's right, Jen. So Sanans, the Blue Waves, has come right up. And we've got the head boy in the house. Give him some more love. Okay, we're moving right along. Look at somebody on your right and left and shake their hand and say, whatever you're seeking, it's also seeking you. It's coming right in that direction. Okay, coming up next, we're going to go to this school again now is making waves. Sorry, pardon the pun. Making moves. That school called QC. And we're going to go to, I call her Sister Smith. And her mother is here tonight. Her father is a great bishop in the Church of God. The man I know well. Give her some love as she comes. QC in the house.
When you hold your baby in your arms the first time, and you think of all the things you can say and do to influence him, it's a tremendous responsibility. What you do with him can influence not only him, but everyone he meets, and not for a day or a month or a year, but for time and eternity. Rose Kennedy. Sir Moderator, judges, fellow speakers, good evening. The question that has been given to me to answer today is, should parents be legally responsible for their children's actions? A question that has been lingering in the hearts of many individuals as they themselves hope to discover the best procedure to ensure the well-being of children and equal rights among all in our judicial system. Due to the complexity of this question, not only will I present my personal view, but also the view of those who believe that children must take full responsibility for their actions, even if it means that their life will be changed forever. A parent should indeed be legally responsible for their children's actions, as they are responsible for their child's upbringing, along with their physical, mental, and spiritual health. Throughout childhood, parents hold this responsibility as the child would be unaware of certain aspects of the world and the great effects their wrongdoing can bring to their lives. However, parents have already encountered situations during their lifetime, and they understand the repercussions that come from their actions, or as Bahamians say, been there, done that. Although a child may be told that they must stay away from certain people and that they must not perform certain actions, they never fully understand unless they have experienced it for themselves and encounter real-life situations that can completely change their lives and the way in which individuals see them. If a child was left to be legally responsible for their actions, then many children wouldn't see their future. It would be taken away from them, right in front of their eyes. For example, let's create a picture. A young boy had been accused of murdering another young man within his neighborhood after a great fight had broken down between the two young boys. Defending himself, one of the young men takes a kitchen knife and stabs the other in the stomach, taking his life. Because of his actions, the young male accused of killing the other is sentenced to life in prison. And although he will still be alive after his sentence is over, he will no longer be able to fulfill the dreams and actions of his young life. He will no longer be able to grow up within his neighborhood and spend time with his family and friends. He will no longer be able to grab life and take all that there is to offer from it. He would be stripped of his rights as a child to seek the opportunities which lies in front of him and run with it. In addition to a child being unaware of the consequences to their actions, they also do not acquire the maturity that comes with age and experiences. According to an article on adolescent maturity and the brain, longitudinal neuroimaging studies demonstrate that the adolescent brain continues to mature well into the 20s. This has prompted intense interest in linking neuromaturation to maturity of judgment. Public policy is struggling to keep up with burgeoning interest in cognitive neuroscience and neuroimaging. However, empirical evidence linking neurodevelopmental processes and adolescent real-world behavior remains sparse. Nonetheless, adolescent brain development research is already shaping public policy debates about when individuals should be considered mature for policy purposes. This article clearly shows that a child who does not possess this characteristic of maturity does not have the ability to analyze a complex situation and provide the attitude needed to prevent irresponsible decisions and actions. Due to the lack thereof, many individuals see it fit to place legal responsibility on parents who, from their responsibilities and from their actions, are able to analyze the situations better. As children, we learn from our parents. So how is it logical to place the burden of legal responsibility on individuals who have not yet been told of the ropes of life? Individuals who have not yet experienced life for themselves? Children. It is our duty to protect the young citizens of our country, for it is our future that we are dealing with. And without the young people, the future of this country will not exist, but will rather succumb to the lack of intelligence and power that will be stripped away from their lives of the young if they become legally responsible for their actions at such a young age. However, many firmly believe within their hearts and minds that it shouldn't be this way, and that children, like any other citizen, should be responsible for their own actions. Some may say that the parents are not the only influence in their child's life. Therefore, it would not be right for the parents to be completely responsible for their children's actions. They may also take it from a perspective of a scripture. In Galatians 6 verse 5, it says, "Every man shall bear his own burden." These individuals believe that even though the child may be very young, they should still bear the burdens of their actions, and that they should still be held accountable for their actions and receive the repercussions needed, no matter how intense it may be. Should parents be legally responsible for their children's actions? A question that has been lingering in the hearts and minds of many individuals as they themselves hope to discover the best procedure to ensure the well-being of children and equal rights among all in our judicial system. I strongly believe that children should not be legally responsible for their actions, as they have not yet experienced and encountered situations that would not only allow for the ability to make great decisions, but also for maturity to enter into their lives. It is our duty to protect the youth of our nation, our babies, our offspring, our future. Thank you.
Kingsley and Leon and Antoinette, they're coming up to give Saxon competition.
Next week?
Queen's College, huh? They're coming up these days, you know. We've been 25 in a row, so we just hired a minute. So give somebody else a chance. So Queen's College came up. Now, you remember when Calvin was up there, Leon?
I spent many times up there with the monks. You know?
Okay, yeah.
All boys school, so
yes.
my brother boarded.
Yeah, okay. Right, so you used to come up there then?
Oh, I spent many times. Father Prosper bars.
Yes, but he died the other day, Father Prosper, yes. Small world, eh? Yeah, but now QC is
my
coming
brother
in.
didn't want to go to Grand Bahama because Daddy was a preacher, you see.
You didn't want to be around it.
So we spent some of my Sunday lessons
Right.
with the monks.
Well, you notice, I know Kingsley Monroe is noticeably quiet in this discussion because he went to the government high. And I don't know what's going on now with the government high. Brother Riley, do you know what's going on with the government high? No? You're the head boy over at Aaron Bailey? Come on down, Brother Riley. Give him some love. Latrell Riley. Come on, Riley. Come on.
Good evening. The topic that was given to me is that should parents be legally responsible for their children's actions? When I first heard this question, I immediately thought, no one wants to take the blame for something that they did not do. However, it is a parent's job to look after their child so that they can become functional members of society. I look around the room and I see many parents, and I'm sure that you would say that you did an exceptional job raising your child. No? Okay. Imagine parents, you're sitting at home and you receive a call from the police station saying your child has been detained for stealing or assault. Now the first thought that might come to your mind is, what? My child? Oh, sorry, you got the wrong number. But now you are sitting in disbelief because your child has gone through the same problem that you taught them to avoid. Although a parent could teach their child right from wrong, it is up to the child to use those lessons. This is something the parent cannot control. John Haywood once said, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. This indicates that people will do as they will. Therefore, you can teach a child moral lessons, but you cannot force them to use them. Personally, I can relate to the topic, because when I was younger, I loved to play a game me and my friends called Rock Fight, where we simply just threw rocks at each other. Complex, right? I know. My mother always warned me many times that playing this game was very dangerous, and I should not do it. However, one day after school, my friends invited me to play Rock Fight. Knowing that it was wrong, I decided to do it anyway, because I wanted to have fun. Shortly after playing, I accidentally threw a rock through the rear window of a teacher's car. And while I did not receive any punishment, well, the school didn't know I received any punishment, my mommy dealt with me. But my mother had to pay for the window, and she received verbal abuse because she did not raise a child right. Even at a young age, I knew something was wrong with that, because my mother did not do anything wrong. However, she was receiving punishment on my behalf. I believe at a certain age, children are fully capable of knowing right from wrong. Therefore, they should receive the punishment. This will help with their mental growth. If a child is not punished for their wrongdoings, they will continue to do them as they will realize that nothing is happening to them. How do you think a person with this mindset will function in society? This will only lead to chaos, and how is that helping anyone? That is why I disagree that parents should be legally responsible for their children's actions. That would just be punishing people for something that is out of their control. Thank you.
Leon, you didn't remember anything like that. Tommy, I don't know you remember anything like that. And Tommy came years later. I don't remember anything he came.
It was something we make about. We was born.
Yeah, oh, okay, that came out of boredom. All right, we're going fast. We're doing very well. We're almost to the end. We're going to go now to Ashanti McCartney. R.M. Bailey. R.M. Bailey. Come on down, Miss McCartney.
Given the topic, television, video games, and movie violence all contribute to juvenile crime rates, I stand firm with the belief that these factors do not contribute. In fact, it does the exact opposite. To Mr. Finlayson, judges, invited guests, and to my worthy opponents, a pleasant good evening. My name is Ashanti McCartney, and this is where I stand. Saying television, video games, and movie violence all contribute to juvenile crime rates is like saying eating candy in front of a baby will give the baby cavities. To begin, although some may say that television can have a negative impact on juveniles, it can also be proven to positively influence them. Everyday technology is changing, and television channels are improving and expanding regularly. The increasement of TV shows are making children lazy in parental terms. However, they fail to acknowledge the fact that these shows are becoming more interesting and captivating, which now persuades juveniles to stay put and avoid engaging in criminal activities. While it may be true that some teens are easily influenced, not every teenager will allow television or the media to influence them. According to Prezi.com, researchers have found that only 5% of the world's population of children get affected by violence on the media. In addition, video games can be seen as a great distraction to many adolescents, especially males, who are easily swayed by negative influences. How many of you know a child that owns a video gaming console? None? Okay, cool. Whether it be your son, daughter, niece, nephew, or even sibling, you would know that most of their free time is spent playing video games. Parents often complain about the impact that video game systems has on their light bill. Parents, would you prefer to spend a few extra dollars on the light bill or pay hundreds of thousands of dollars on bail, reimbursements, or rehab because of your child's violent behavior? Juveniles spend hours on video games or video gaming consoles. Whether or not they're playing graphical or violent games, these hours allow less time for them to engage or even want to engage in criminal activities. Being a gamer myself, I could assure you that the video games are surely a distraction from the real world. The most you will see a child if it's early in the morning, dinner time, or time to go to bed. Statistics show that the rate of juvenile crime has decreased as the video game sales has increased, which further backs up my point. Finally, movie violence can be seen as a major reason as to why juvenile crime is increasing, when in reality it isn't. Most movies that display violence always highlight the consequences of such actions. It is my opinion that violent movies teaches adolescents right from wrong. A person could watch a violent movie their entire life and still not be convicted by what's happening. As an individual, you have rights and you're allowed to make your own choices. Whether or not you allow the violence around you to induce you into performing unlawful acts, at the end of the day, the charge will be brought against you, not the director of the movie. Movies are put in place for many purposes. What you take away from the movie is all up to you. In concluding, not all aspects of modern technology is detrimental. Media violence is not the problem here. In fact, it is the personality of the persons engaging in them. Television, video games, and movie violence does not contribute to juvenile crime rates. Once again, my name is Ashanti McCartney, and this is where I stand. Moderator.
Well, we've come to the very end, to the final of the last speaker tonight, our last presenter. Yes, and this young lady hails from the school that's right next door to us. This great Doris Johnson. Is it Mystics? Mystic Mullins. Yeah, right next door. Grace Carey. Give us some love as she makes her way. Grace Carey, our final.
My topic today is, should teachers' pay be based on performance? Tick, tock, tick. And the clock hits. Time flies without us knowing where tomorrow lies. Little do we know we are tomorrow. Who informs us of this? Teachers, those effective leaders who inspire and lead their students to excel in everything they do. Well-respected judges, invited guests, Mr. Spence Finlayson, and my fellow competitors, a pleasant good evening. A teacher, as defined by infed.org, is one who attends to people's needs, experiences, feelings, and intervening so that they learn things and go beyond the given, and to impart knowledge to or instruct someone. Teachers have a job to do, and with that job comes responsibilities that need to be fulfilled. I personally believe that teachers' pay should be based on performance. Picture that you're sitting down at home with a sense of peace, thinking that your child or children is getting the quality education that they need. Yet, your thoughts have led you from the actual truth. Comes to find out, your child is being taught less and less each day, being robbed of their education, while the teacher stays with the mindset of, I still get paid regardless. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. John Dewey. Teachers play an important role in our life to become successful in career and business. A good teacher helps us to become a good human being in society and a good citizen of the country. Teachers know that students are the future of any nation. So the future development of any nation is in the hands of the teachers. On BuzzFeed.com, one writer noted that they came from a very conservative home where they were silenced and their opinion was not valued. In junior high, a teacher, Mistress Kings, encouraged their questions and their philosophical thoughts about the world. That teacher impacted the writer's life, which led to them becoming a human rights lawyer. Instead of allowing teachers to have that mindset that they get paid regardless, we need to ensure that they are paid based on performance so that your child can get the quality education they deserve. Let's encourage teachers to teach to the best of their abilities. We learn through them, through their commitment to excellence, and through their ability to make us realize our own personal growth. We look to them for advice and guidance. Therefore, we need them to be their best self so that they can teach us to be, see, dream, and perform the best that we can. Moderator?
All right. Yeah, that's right. It's pretty well. Okay, thank you so much. What we want to do now is to award these young people with a certificate of completion for being here, present, every time the class was held. I was very pleased with them. I missed the first two sessions, and that's the first time in my life I missed any of the things that I've done, and that's because of a very bad flu that I had. So Pastor Gardner stepped in for me, and I want to give him a round of applause in his absence. He couldn't make it here tonight, but I know he's here in spirit with us. Okay? So we're going to just give out the certificates now.